What is your beef with Skip Bayless?
I just think he washed. I think it's done for him, bro. I think he done.
Your Los Angeles Lakers are officially moving out of the LeBron James era.
People still wanting him to come back, to me, doesn't make any sense. Like, he's 41.
Why do you hate new media, man?
It's like the inconsistencies
Yep.
and unfairness that people have.
So you and Agent, y'all are best friends. Did you see that from the jump? Did the chemistry hit from the jump?
Not really, because at the time when we creating content, the idea of creating a career, especially to the level in which everybody is at right now, that wasn't really a thing at that point in time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of In the Scope with Sniper Jones. Joining us today, we got somebody I really wanted to be a part of this podcast, and I'm grateful that he decided to step out the crib, kick it with me today. This is a guy I've been knowing for a very long time. I've been able to watch him just continue to grow and become one of the biggest voices in basketball and sports media, period. You probably heard some of his Laker rants. You probably heard him get on your favorite athlete's ass because he did something crazy, or maybe he just tired of the BS. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the one and only legend of winning, a.k.a. Low, in the building. My God, this is a long time coming, man. Thank you for pulling up, bro.
Thank you. I ain't gonna lie. Thank you for having me, bro. It's been a long time coming, bro. Long time coming. And yes, I got out of the house.
Yes.
I got out of the house, for sure.
Now, man, I want to start it from the top because me and you met, I think we met around the time that Agent just bought, you and Agent got a crib out in, out there. Y'all got out there. And I was coming around at that time. I just met N.B.A. But funny enough, I've known your brother since I moved to Atlanta. Shout out Omar. I know you somewhere watching. Me and Omar used to play basketball every day on Old National at LA Fitness. Every single day. And that's when Omar had some game, bro. The nigga was nice. Nobody will believe it now because nobody hoop every day no more. But the nigga was nice.
I think the first time I met you was in Miami, actually.
Miami? We went on that trip, that random ass trip. You right.
It was me, Agent Caleb, and I didn't even know it was you and and Holla.
Yes, bro.
And I never met y'all before, so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know like the connection or anything like that. Bro, we were in Miami filming like IRL content, playback at that time, and then I just like pop up at a breakfast table, and there was two other niggas on the table I had never met before. So that was actually, I think that was my first time meeting.
Yeah, I think that's mine too. I forgot about that trip. Yeah. That was the most random trip of all time.
I don't even know how you got there.
Me either, nigga. I can't remember. Okay. I think it was something along the lines of like, Waleed was telling me that everybody was going to Miami, and I was like, shit. I didn't even know Agent that well. Agent told me when we was out in Miami on this trip, he was eating breakfast, and I just sat down and talked to the nigga, and he was like, obviously he's a lot guarded when he's around people. Everybody got ulterior motives. Yeah. But for whatever reason, he told me that conversation let him know that I was a good dude. Yeah. I don't even know what the fuck we talked about, but that was my first time actually talking to him too.
So you literally just, it was you and Holla, or Holla just also had to be there as well?
It was me and Holla.
Oh, okay.
Because we was, at that time, we lived close to each other. We was doing everything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was just a random ass trip with the guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
When we got there, I think obviously it was a bunch of content creators.
It was.
Spring break and stuff like that. So everybody was down there kind of doing content, but it was just, you just walking around the strip and you just seeing people, and I don't know if it was like by design or whatever, if you was trying to like be in a know-how or whatever, because I think even Sneeko was there too.
That was my first time meeting Sneeko.
That was my first time.
He pulled up in like a Lamb.
Or second time.
He put up like a Maserati or some shit.
Bro.
You remember that?
Not only do I remember the story, we got footage of when he got it and then us trying to explain to him why not to get the Maserati.
Yeah.
We were telling him to try to get something practical, and he was just like deep in like the concept of which con. But yeah, that was my first. That was the first time we met. That was the first time we met, and then after that, you came on the pod after that.
Yup. And okay, we're going to get to that pod soon. But let's start from the top, man. Before we deep dive, why do you hate new media, man? Why do you hate new media? Because I want to get this from you. I watch a lot of your content. Obviously, I love N.B.A. So anything circling around N.B.A., I love. I watch. I consume. And it seems like new media just rub you the wrong way sometimes.
It's not really new media rather than like, you mean old media?
Old media and new media. You have your takes on certain aspects, but in this particular question, new media, because we're gonna hit on some of the other stuff later on.
It's not really new or old media. It's just like the inconsistencies and unfairness that people have. And to be fair, like I do believe I can self-audit myself at times and acknowledge like sometimes I'll be tripping too. But a lot of times it's just like I'll listen to somebody speak and I'm like, bro, either you don't know what you're talking about, or it's inconsistent, or I can tell you trying to get an angle with something, and none of it, and I do mean none of it makes any sense. That's my biggest issue. It's not even really about new media, old media. It's just about like people in the space that are purposely being ignorant about a lot of stuff. That's my problem.
And I think that's a valid point because so many people have this idea of, they'll say one thing. And maybe 3 or 4 months later, they'll contradict themselves in the nastiest way. I do think you good. I do think, though, sometimes we have the advantage of being able to, like, you gotta admit, niggas can change their mind too. Like sometimes we can't give people, we can't take that off the table to where like you don't reserve the right to change your mind.
But see, my criticism isn't even from changing your mind. My criticism is more about is your first initial idea or concept based in something that's factual.
Yep.
So, like, I guess in the N.B.A. world right now, like, Stephen A. is, like, going
we're going to get to him. Oh, trust me. I got some questions for you on him.
He in the middle right now doing, like, a crazy rant about how the Lakers, like, they're not good because it's a bunch of white players.
Yeah.
There's a lot of criticisms to have with the Lakers right now, but, like, why are you making it about race? And then when you hear him talk, it's like, just say you're not familiar with the other names outside of Luka and Reeves. Don't sit here and tell me about why it is or isn't going to work or how it's never happened before. That's why it's – and then when I keep hearing this, like, bro, you just don't know what you're talking about. And that's my biggest issue is that, like, it's just the flagrant, flamboyant language that leads down this path of, like, very clear ignorance. That's my biggest issue.
And I think you're valid. I think a lot of people feel that way, especially about traditional media, and that's why I think new media even has a presence because we do it a different way, you do it a different way, and it's very needed in the space. But we're going to start from the beginning. One of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, I think I talked to you about it over the phone, you make videos every day. You got like 3 channels that you upload on like every fucking day. They all do amazing, but I still don't feel like people know who is Low, who is the legend of winning. So we're going to take it back from the beginning. If memory serves me correct, born and raised Fayetteville, Georgia, right?
I'm not born in Fayetteville, but raised in Fayetteville, born in Atlanta, but raised in Fayetteville, yeah.
Raised in Fayetteville. When I first moved to Atlanta, I was living in College Park, which, as you know, right down the road, not too far at all. What was it like for you growing up in Fayetteville? Because at that time, though Atlanta is a very black city, Fayetteville was one of those cities that was it was a little bit mixed. I think now it's a little bit more ethnicity there, but at the time, what was that like?
When I first was growing up, when I was probably like around, let's just say like 5 to 10 years of age, it was definitely more white leaning. It's definitely grown a lot, especially when I go back now.
Absolutely.
It's like much more, even diverse. I don't want to just say black. It's just more diverse with a lot of other ethnicities. But as I continue to grow up from like, 11, 12, all the way up to like 18 to when I, grew up at my mama's house, it started to get a little bit more blacker. And then we get to the point where it was damn near basically 40-40 white, black, and the other like 20% is separated. But growing up in a general sense, I don't know, it's very communal, I'll say that. And now getting to a certain age, crazy enough, like back in the day, if you grew up in Fayetteville, you were raised in Fayetteville, it was like a joke almost. Like, people was like faking and perpetrating, acting like, oh no, I'm really from College Park.
Right.
I'm like, all right, come on, bro. We're here. We're all here. We don't have to act that way. But now, like growing up, knowing like the values that you can instill in there, and in the great school and stuff like that, you can understand like why your mom, dad, your parents wanted you to grow up there. So it's definitely community based, and I love the fact that it's much more diverse and it's growing now.
Man, you spoke to it. Obviously, this is a very Atlanta conversation, so people from outside wouldn't know. But now Fayetteville is doing amazing things, whether it be Trilith, right? The parks, the communities. It's a great space to be at. But as I mentioned, back at that time, it may be a little different, right? So you coming out of Fayetteville, growing up, trying to find your way. Funny enough, you're one of the biggest voices, I believe, in new media when it comes to basketball. What do you think about the people that have takes like you can't talk basketball if you did not play basketball? So I wanted to ask you directly, how did you grow the love of the game? Did you play growing up? Did you watch, consume? What was that like? How did the love of basketball become one and one with you?
So crazy. So I'm not one of the people who tried to play basketball at a high level and then failed, and then now I'm talking about it. Because I do think that those people, to be fair to like the athletes out there, I do believe those people may speak through a lens that can be very vindictive at times.
Yeah.
I grew up just watching the sport. I played it for a few years when I was in high school. But when I was in high school, I was nowhere near good enough to play for the team because the team that when I was in school, bro, I know some of y'all probably not familiar with the names, but like Brandon Boykins was going to school at that time. He went to the NFL. He played for the Eagles, Steelers. He played for a few
I know
years.
Brandon Boykins.
Jumping over kids in the slam dunk contest. It was like that level of athleticism. They went through a whole run where they didn't lose it all until like the state. Like you had to be really, really good to play basketball at the high school I went to. So I did not play basketball at that level. I guess the time in which I really fell in love with it, I was playing, and then my coach is trying to explain to me like the importance of setting a screen. Set a screen, roll hard, get the ball, lay it up, foul, and one. We win the game based off of me like doing that.
You got a game winner on you? Come on. Okay, then. Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, there it is. So I did that, and then I still didn't comprehend it until I can see it from a larger lens. So my coach kept trying to explain to me, like, how to do that. Then Kobe and Powell won a championship in 2009, and there's a snippet of Kobe trying to explain to Powell, like, the importance of setting a screen. So that right there was my introduction of understanding basketball and learning it to a higher level. And then from there, I didn't really recognize it. Somebody on Facebook actually just told me this when we were in school. He's like, yeah, you used to talk about basketball all the time.
Really?
So that didn't really register to me because crazy enough, people don't know this. My first attempt at content was actually hip-hop. It was me breaking down rap and stuff like that.
I can see that. I can see that because we've had rap discussions before and sneaker discussions because you had a passion of sneakers as well. Okay, so here we go. You in high school, you playing basketball. You growing the love of the game, not only playing, but now you also starting to think about it cerebrally, whether it's coaches talking to you about the way to look at the game or if it's you watching some of your favorite players like Kobe Bryant. When you see the game or, whenever you're mentioning basketball, as you said, a lot of your peers said that, did you know basketball and you would have a future together? Were you one of those guys that thought you had a chance to play the next level, or did you know you wanted to be a pundit or some type of journalist at that level? Did that cross your mind at all?
No, because I ain't gonna lie, I hate reading. I don't like reading. Even to this day, I'm not the biggest reader. I'm a pretty good writer, but nothing like too extravagant. So like going to school for like journalism or anything like that just wasn't a thing that I was trying to do. And again, I was playing at a school where it was very clear, like if you're not at a certain level, you're just not, that's not who you are. So there was never really a moment, not until really I was like in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
When it started to click that like maybe this could be a thing that I do. I'll even go as far as say maybe not even to my late 20s.
Wow, yeah.
Even when I started doing YouTube, it wasn't as if like it was something I saw as like I can do something for potentially the rest of my life until probably about 3 or 4 years ago. To be honest with you. So, Nah, it really. I went to school for accounting. Like I was not. None of this was like prepared or planned or anything like that at all. Actually.
Funny enough, when your name come up, I speak highly, but it's weird to me. I always say like, I say so many good things about people, but I never tell the people the good things to themselves. Yeah. You are one of the smartest people I have ever met.
Thank you.
I don't know how often you get this compliment or if you ever, but when I'm around you, when you talk business, when you talk in general, just your mindset, even when you make videos just on just regular common conversations, you're very intelligent, bro. And to hear you say like, yo, man, I don't like reading that much, or, like, it's kind of shocking to me because you seem like a person that was always academically inclined, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, bro, I wasn't. One thing I do regret, though, I ain't gonna lie, is that I probably should have taken reading far more serious because it is a part of, like, vocabulary and things of that nature that needs to be much larger, kind of do the things that I do.
Yeah.
So I do regret that, but I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I wasn't a reader, bro. I graduated high school late, bro.
Yeah. Wow.
I was not. Yeah.
You bro, you lying.
Yeah, I graduated high school late. If anybody who follow me on Twitter knows it, like, it was my pin tweet.
Yeah.
For a long time where I graduated high school late. Not like a full year late.
No, for sure. But just not on time.
Summer, I didn't graduate on time. It was because I failed chemistry of all classes. But I wasn't. The only thing I really enjoyed in school was math. Math was like the only thing that I fucked with, like at a high enough level that I could interpret. But even then, every single time I tried to do something, I always thought to myself, like, what's the purpose of this? Like, how am I going to implement this in real life? And as soon as that happened, I just start, like, becoming disinterested really, really quickly.
So I think that's important because, as you mentioned, okay, cool. So here we go. You are figuring out where you're going, right? You find this love of basketball. You play it. You're starting to understand it. You're getting older. You're in high school. At what point do you become a Lakers fan? You from Atlanta, my nigga. Born and raised. How do you become a Lakers fan in Atlanta? You had Joe Johnson. You had all these nice players. You had
Joe Johnson. Hey, shout out to Joe.
Don't disrespect Joe, man.
Joe T.
Yeah.
Horford.
Come on, man. Best record in the East. Like, they made runs.
No.
I know the Hawks isn't a historical franchise like the Lakers, but I'm asking, how does a guy that loves Atlanta, you represent Atlanta, how do you find your way all the way over across the country to LA?
It's really because of my family. So my both actually my mom and dad's side, they're military family, so they bounced around a lot, especially my dad. But on my mom's side of the family, we would go visit my great grandmother. Bro, in her house, she would have posters of Kareem and Magic Johnson.
They got them early.
Yeah. Bro, we would go into her house. She'll be watching the game. She'll be watching the Braves. She'll be watching. She watches sports in general, but she definitely kept up with the Lakers a lot. So Kobe was her guy. You couldn't tell her anything. Magic was her guy. Kareem, Worthy, she knew all of them. So that was also a part of it. And then, I mean, to be also fair, growing up, when I first got into basketball, that's like late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. Nothing was really going on in the city anyway for me to, like, really attach to. And at the time, the two teams that were dominating the sport were the Kings and the Lakers. So were the Spurs. So, like, the first jersey I got was a Chris Webber jersey.
Chris Webber.
I got a C-Web
C4.
jersey. And then I remember growing up, like, my cousin, he's older than me, so he would always pick the team first on live back in the day. So I was forced with the Kings. Yeah. One day I beat him on a dumbass buzzer beater, and so then from there he switched teams, and so I had the Lakers. And from that moment onwards, as well as me just growing up, and going and visiting my grandmother, my great grandmother, like that's what really, like, envisioned me being, like, a Laker fan.
You mentioned coming up at that time, basketball, 99, early 2000s for you. My question is something that I believe, the golden era of basketball. If you ask a lot of guys, they'll say it was the early 90s, even early 80s when these guys like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, some of the greatest names, right? The Clyde Drexlers of the world, Isaiah Thomas has played in the game. But to me, it could be biased, but to me, bro, I'm going to be honest with you. The golden age of basketball, to me, early 2000s, mid 2000s. I felt like the N.B.A. commercials was the best. The sneakers was the best. Kobe coming out with the Grinches. Bron coming out with the King's Pride joints. It was like such a great time. The Derrick Roses, Tim Duncans, T-Max, Vince Carter's, Dwight's, LeBron. Is the 2000s, mid 2000s, the golden era of basketball in your opinion?
It probably is, just because even beyond, like, the players, I think the personnel, playing style, it's far more diverse back then than I think in any other era of basketball. I think the level of competition and sophistication of the game is better as well. Identifiable names, when you start to look at, like, the overlapping of stuff that was happening in the late 90s through the 2000s, early 2010s. There's a lot of overlapping, like, talent, a lot of star power. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. Right now it's kind of special, bro.
It is.
So if you are a basketball fan right now, bro, I could definitely feel it. And also, like, even in the mid 2010s, I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of crazy. Like, if you was growing up and you watched, like, Curry ascend, and then you watching still good, like, peak LeBron and Durant, and then you being told as a kid about Oscar Robertson, and ain't nobody ever did a triple double since, and then Russ started doing it. And Harden putting them numbers. Like, I think from that point to where we are right now was also like a really great era of basketball.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, but obviously this is what I grew up off of. But in my opinion, it is a 2000s.
For me, I just think that once you are an NBA fan, and don't even forget, college basketball was at its peak at that time. You had guys.
I don't watch college, though, to be honest with you.
Which is crazy, but I love college basketball. Still to this day, I love college basketball. Maybe because now I'm more intertwined to high school and college athletics because I see guys that's in high school to maybe go to OTE or play for RWE, ascend to college and I want to keep up. But think, you had guys like Greg Oden, who was amazing in Ohio State, the Jimmer Fredettes, who was going crazy. You had all these phenomenons, right? You had guys like LaMarcus Aldridge, who was killing at Texas. KD was killing at Texas. College basketball at this time was amazing. Johnny Flynn was killing. You had guys, Syracuse was killing.
I don't know, but see,
he was killing. There's no reason why. That's why a lot of guys.
John Wall.
John Wall was amazing.
Right,
but all these guys.
That was a point in time where. Like the mixtape was like
even high school basketball, the Kill Cars, the John Walls, the Austin Rivers, this was just, and obviously it might sound like I'm a little biased, but I kind of wanted to stamp that point. The peak of basketball to me is not the peak of NBA. That is a small piece of a large pie. Basketball on every cylinder, college, high school, and NBA was thriving, I think, at the highest at the same time. And that is why I give the 2000s that much love because the NBA is just a piece of the puzzle. It's a large piece, but a piece still.
I'll say also culturally as well.
I think
NBA was basketball at whole because even like N.B.A. mixtapes, hoop mixtapes and stuff like that, the idea of the concept of just basketball in general, and it became more global in the 2000s as well. So I think that was when we were introduced to more international players. Like Hakeem was probably the biggest name at that point. By the time we got to the 2000s, between Yao, Dirk, Nash was coming over as well. Like there was just a far greater variety of just international players. So like in that sense, like if you're just saying basketball, I probably would agree. I don't think that there is. I don't think that there is a single one. And even I just thought about they internationally beat us as well in 2000. And we had the Redeem team as well. Yeah, if we had to say that, then the 2000s probably is.
It was a great time. It was a great time. So back to your upcoming, right? You originally start making YouTube videos, was it 2013? Or what time did you start? Maybe not consistently, but what time you start uploading? Because you've been at this for a very long time.
So I've been creating basketball content for like a decade now. But I think the first piece of content was 2013, but again, it wasn't basketball. So I don't even know if you noticed. I don't know why you said 2013, but
I did my research.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on, man. I ain't come for I ain't ill-informed, my brother. Come on now.
So the first piece of content that I put out, the first piece of content I put out was again like rap oriented, which is cringe to say. So I got damn, this is a crazy story. So when people don't know, I at the time. And it's like such a stereotypical story, but when I was when I graduated high school late, working at Walmart, going to school but really like BSing because I went to Georgia State, wanting to be a rapper, right? So I'm dead ass driving around the city, doing a whole bunch of nonsense, and what's crazy is I just went through my emails like 2 days ago because my emails like getting packed up. I was like, let me start deleting some stuff. But I still got an email from Patchwork. I don't know if people know what that is. It's a studio here in Atlanta. I don't even know if it still exists.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a studio in Atlanta. It's on the north side of town. Bro, I drove all the way from Fayetteville to Patchworks to go record like 2 songs. Recorded 2 songs. One of them was bad. The other one's actually on the internet right now.
Okay.
And then I didn't know what to do with it. They sitting there telling me like, oh yeah, you should sell the song. You should sell da-da-da-da. Dude came in. He probably a drug dealer. He came in, gave me a few $100s for the song. Never used it either. It was bad. So I went from that to then I was like, bro, like this shit is crazy. So let me just start creating content off of like what's going on in the space. So at the time it was Dead End Hip Hop. I think Academics was like at the earliest stages of him. Some of the stuff that he probably don't too favorable of who he is.
Yeah.
And then it was another YouTuber called Nick Bag TV. Those are the 3 that I remember for sure. And then Dead End Hip Hop, they're actually based out of here in Atlanta.
Okay.
So then I sent them an email because they were looking for more talent, and they dubbed me. So that was tough. But I might have created content, like maybe like 4 or 5 different videos, maybe a little bit more than that. But the one video I do remember was Wale was transitioning from Roc Nation over to MMG, and I was like, why don't he just be independent?
Yeah.
That was like, that's my first vivid memory of creating a piece of content.
Now, you say you was rapping. What was your rap name?
Big Blue, which is
Big Blue. Was you Crip, nigga?
It was bad. I actually have a Crip line in that too, like that too.
Do you
Big Blue? Big Blue. I never read like I'm illiterate. It was crazy.
That's not bad.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
If the cadence and the beat is good, you can get away with that. I'm not gonna lie. Do you still have a love for music? Do you still create music, even if it's just to yourself?
Not even remotely. I don't even like it no more.
So you just off of it?
I'm off music. It's crazy. The part of the reason why is because of the whole process. Because me trying to get into the studio in the beginning with was hell, bro. I was saving up money, giving money to this person, that person. Bro, I had a crazy story about how I worked in Peachtree City, and there was somebody who worked in Peachtree City who had a house out in Noonan. So I drove all the way to Noonan. He gave me an address. I'm thinking he gave me an address to a house. Come to find out, he gave me an address to a pawn shop.
Man,
I gave him the money to go. He gonna go get his microphone out the pawn shop. We go to his crib. He hooked up the microphone in his kitchen.
You on some hustle and flow shit right now.
Bro, I'm rapping. His girlfriend come back in the middle of me rapping is like, hey, how you doing? What's this?
In the middle of the verse?
In the middle, bro. Then as it happens, she's like, can I need to talk to you? Like, dude, what are you doing? I told you not to do this. And I'm like, fuck, bro. Oh, my God.
Did you reflect on life at that point? Like, what the fuck am I doing?
I was like, bro, no, this is not it, bro. So while they arguing, dead ass, while they're arguing, I just picked up my stuff and left. Because I was already heated. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? You gassing up the fact you got a studio and all that stuff. Bro, it's literally just his kitchen, bro. Echo and all. This is before even, like, we have, like, far more advanced recording equipment now. Echo and all in the middle of the kitchen, just rapping, trying to get this through. And then his girl interrupts. And then she tweaking out on him because what are you doing? Why are you not working? Why are you not da-da-da-da? Like, going crazy on him. I'm like, bro, you got it. And what made it worse is that I'm driving a 97 Camry that overheats. It's in August.
Oh, my goodness.
Bro.
Did the AC work at least?
The AC work, but this is even worse. I had a burn on my hand because of this. Bro, I get there, and my it starts to overheat. So I open up the hood, and I know for a fact what it is. I think it's like the EGR valve or something. But I had to pour antifreeze in there.
Yep.
I touched the top of the radiator.
Yeah.
Scorching hot.
Yep.
So I'm bugging. So now I get the antifreeze bottle and I hit it on its side so it can start twisting.
Like a volcano. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I'm like, fuck. And I had like a burn mark on my arm for a good second. And I was like, bro, I'm already out here, bro. So I might as well just do this, bro. I might as well just do it. And then as that happened, he then gets in his car. We go over there, and I'm like, bro, I'm here. And you know, when in your mind, you like, bro, it's gonna be a crazy story to tell when I make it. Fuck no. Get to this man's house in the kitchen, bro.
That's hilarious.
Crazy, bro.
What's funny to me about this story is, bro, no lie, I had a 2001 Oldsmobile Intrigue that me and my boys used to call the boat. The reason why we called it the boat is because my shit overheated. And I used to carry around 2 jugs of water. My grandfather put me on. Instead of buying antifreeze all the time because I was broke as hell, if you just carry around jugs of water, you can fill up this shit with water instead of antifreeze and it'll still work. Yeah. So literally, this is how embarrassing this shit was. By the way, windows did not roll down. AC did not work. In Atlanta, bro. No tent.
That's tough.
Luckily, I had cloth seats because if it was leather, I was done.
You're done. Yeah.
Windshield wipers or blinkers didn't work. And to make it even worse, my gas meter didn't work. So I done ran out of gas like 4 or 5 times because I literally just don't know I don't have any. I pull up to my boy crib. No cap. I pull up to my boy crib. Let's say we got something to do. It was so embarrassing, bro. I'm taking jugs out of my trunk, going to his water hose to get prepared for the ride. Because I know at some point to get there and come back, I'm going to have to pull over, fill shit up with water, and keep going. So when you said your shit was overheating, oh, trust me, brother, I understand that for sure.
But mine was so bad that I had to stop doing that because when I pour water in there, it would just boil out.
Yeah, fortunately, that ain't happened to me.
Yeah, that's how bad mine was. I had to put straight antifreeze because I remember somebody was telling me that no, you're supposed to like mix it with antifreeze and water.
Yeah.
Bro, anytime I did that, it would just like evaporate because the water would evaporate quick. So
Yeah.
I had to put straight antifreeze in there just in case. Just so it can last, because if I didn't, I would have to do what you did. I had to walk around with jugs of water constantly and pouring it in there, bro.
Humble beginnings, bro. It made us.
It was bad, bro. It was bad. People ask me why I don't get out like that. Yeah. That's why. That's why. Like, even right now, I'm having traumatic events in my mind.
Same.
Like, I'm not getting outside because I know for a fact I'm going to have to pull over at one point and pour antifreeze in this. I'm not about to get outside like that.
So you trying to rap, trying to figure it out. At what point do you realize, man, look, let me try something else? And when was that idea basketball? How did that come about?
So I stopped. I guess I put the pen down. So I stopped rapping for a second. And then I was still just talking about basketball. So I would go to work, and I'm constantly talking about basketball. I had a coworker. He was a huge Pelican fan, so me and him would chop it up all the time. But that's what all we really, really do.
Okay.
And then I would be so fixated with talking about basketball, I would go home online and start searching up people's podcasts and stuff like that to just hear people talk about basketball. And crazy enough, that's actually how I stumbled across Agent. So Agent had a podcast at the time called the AO Podcast, where it was him and a bunch of other 2K YouTubers that talked about basketball. And I was in the comment section just commenting here and there, would have it in the background while I was like doing homework or whatever. Or
what year is this?
This had to be probably 2014 or 15,
okay.
22. And then eventually they saw me, and I think he had said something on lines of like they needed a new thumbnail design. So then I made them a thumbnail. I sent it over to them. They used it, and then in return, as a favor, they put me on the podcast. And then as they put me on the podcast, I guess I was just so good at it that I just like, they were just like, all right, cool, he's just going to stay. So he's just like now a mainstay on the show. And so that's kind of how me being in basketball and creating content. And then Agent was really just like, Agent was trying to push himself to figure out what else he could do.
Yeah.
Because he was doing a bunch of My GM stuff that really wasn't working out. Like it had a ceiling to it. At that time, I don't even think he had 50K subs. Like, I think he was like, this is very, very early Agent. And then, but he was still trying to get everybody else around him to participate. Because I think that's just the best way that Agent operates, where he has like other people around to kind of bounce ideas. And so then he was pushing me pretty consistently to like, yo, just play 2K, like just do da-da-da-da. And then I guess like in some more cocky stuff, I was like, I could do that. That's easy. So then I uploaded 2 or 3 2K videos. And then after that, I wanted to upload a Curry video to why they lost the 2016 final.
We're going to get to that. I got that.
And then that was the first. But leading up to that, I did rap content and then like 2 or 3 videos of 2K. And I was on a podcast with him for like maybe a year and some change before I started uploading on my own.
So you and Agent, right? Let's pick up from there. Y'all are best friends. You've been knowing him since he lived out in Canada. And before he even made the transition to the U.S., if I'm not mistaken, you helped find a crib to get him to move from Canada to the U.S.
Yeah.
You told us how that relationship started. However, did you expect it to become to the point where you guys have several business ventures together? Later down the line, you guys are, creating amazing content, whether it be playback, peer-to-peer, things that we're going to touch on later in this. But, I mean, you guys' relationship is amazing. Did you see that from the jump? Did the chemistry hit from the jump?
Not really, because at the time when we creating content, no one is really doing, you know what I'm saying? Like at the time when we're creating content, you just uploading videos and hoping that it works and you having fun with it. The idea of creating a career, especially to the level in which everybody is at right now, that wasn't really a thing at that point in time. And the only thing that people had to go off of was like machinima, COD, content creators like C-Nanners, Hutch, even Chris Smooth and stuff like that, Jive Turkey, Chase Money. It really wasn't like a sustainable idea. So no one didn't know what was the next pivot or anything like that. So no, to answer your question, no. Because especially at that time, we were still, again, he was trying to figure out how to pivot off of My GM content. So we were just staying up late at night on Skype calls, constantly trying to figure out, all right, can you do this, do that, how to figure out other ways to like just create content in 2K. Because at that time, bro, if you were a My GM content creator, that's all you did it. If you were My Team opening packs, that's all you did. Park came along. If you did Park, that's really all you did. No one really shifted back and forth from different game modes. Agent was, in my opinion, Agent is the first one. It's actually the reason why I think he is one of, if not the greatest 2K creator of all time, because he was like the first one to really interact in every single game mode. And I remember I was there like literally along the way when we were up 3-4 o'clock in the morning on Skype trying to figure out different ways to like pivot and stuff like that. And he was
doing that back then at only 50K subs. I tell this to whoever asks me who I learned the most from in YouTube is Agent. Yeah. And he's never sat me down and told me nothing. I just watch. When they got the first N.B.A., that was the first time I was able to watch him work. The same room that y'all would do playback in. At some point, I just come in there in his room because, he made like a patio into his room. Yeah. I come in there and he'll have a meeting with thumbnail guy. He'll have a meeting with the guy who helped him come up with ideas. He'll have a meeting with, and I'll just see how he works intensively. And I was like, yo, bro. And then I'll sit down and have a conversation with him. As you know, he's one of the most intelligent people as well. And that's why I thought that y'all did such a great job with playback, because you have two intellectuals talking about social commentary. So you get point of views that are really important and also oddly correct on certain topics. What have you learned from being around him? You've been around him longer than me, and I've learned a lot from just watching how he moves.
I think Agent is like the hardest worker.
Bro, it's insane.
It's not even, and again, this is not, obviously it's Glaze because that's my guy, but like, I don't even think it's close.
No. Trust me. I'm seconding that, but you got your own. Yeah. I would double down. You're not glazing. You're correct, brother. Like
I agree. Like it's a lot of, because I think even he will say it himself. Like he's not the smartest. He's not the funniest. He's not the most entertaining. But like the way in which he meticulously kind of adds on to who he is as an individual and how he's been able to maneuver in the space and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that. And I guess if you talk to the right people, I'm pretty sure they would probably say the same thing about me as well. But there's a lot of things and concepts and how things operate in the space that I know for a fact because of him, that's how things operate. And even beyond like AMP, like you said, the way in which you're talking with thumbnail creators and stuff like that. Like shout out to Caleb, because Caleb is probably like, he is the best hire we've ever had.
Yeah.
The way in which Caleb has structured his business model now and how everything is built off of that all stems back from like things that Agent and I were doing 10, 11 years ago when we were back in Skype calls having conversations. So the same way you see him like talking to a thumbnail designer and talking to somebody else, map things out, that is literally what we were doing in Skype calls 11, 12 years ago. Like literally the exact same thing.
I remember being this early AMP, so this is like 2021. I remember being around Agent, and the switch happened to where Twitch seemed a lot more appeasing at the time. He had a couple YouTube channels. He would upload on some. But I remember I was around at this time where he was just like, yo, I think I'm going to take this Twitch shit serious right now. Like, this is what I'm going to go towards. God be my witness. Maybe 7 months later, the nigga was the biggest on Twitch. He literally just decided to change his route from YouTube to Twitch in about 7 months, because nothing happens overnight. But it was just like, if you seen the ideas, the effort, the time he put into it, like the nigga just like, he like a beast, bro. Like I seen it. And for people who don't think that's impressive, yo, bro, being a creator, it is very tough to just switch lanes and just be successful. Right now, you create content on basketball, my nigga. For you to be like, you know what, I'm going baseball. In 7 months, be the biggest name in that is impossible.
That's the reason why I said that he is the greatest 2K creator. And people got upset at me when I said that because they think that I'm like diminishing Smooth and stuff like that, which is cool. Like if you think Smooth, like that's not even. But and I hate to sound this way because it sounds like the same way NBA players and athletes be talking to people like me about like the sport. But it's like, but you have no idea how difficult it is to pivot into a new direction, a new lane. Bro. And be successful. Like you have literally no idea how difficult it is. And you can go ask several content creators to this day. That is part of the reason why some of them don't even create content anymore, because they stayed in the lane. They stayed not only in the lane, but a specific genre. Like I said before, bro, back in 2K days, if you open packs in my team, that was literally the only thing he did from start to finish. Start to finish. My GM start to finish. That was literally it. Agent was able to take one game and create so many different pieces of content out of one game to the point where by the time he got done playing 2K, he wasn't even putting the game 2K on, and he was still creating content off of the community and stuff like that. So then to pivot off of where we are right now, like, yeah, Agent has basically, in some capacity, he has succeeded in damn near every aspect of content, from now IRL with streaming, with AMP, with a collaboration type of group content house and stuff like that, podcasting that we did, social commentary that we did, gaming that he started off with. Like, there's literally no the
nigga never lost.
Yeah, there's no piece of content that he has not been able to touch, and it has not at least reached a level of success that has been noteworthy. And so, like, again, people have no idea how difficult that is.
Yeah.
They just don't know, and it is petrifying when people are trying to pivot from one direction to the next.
Man.
But watching him do that routine, like, over and over and over again, bro, it's crazy.
In basketball reference, it's like the nigga who getting a triple-double every night, but you don't really understand what it takes to do that, and you'll see why it hasn't been done for a long time. So now we moving along, and you got a relationship with Agent, you start uploading videos, and one of the first early videos I see is you blaming Steph Curry for the legendary 3-1 comeback. Yeah. How are you going to blame the best player on the team to why they lost in N.B.A. Finals to LeBron James and Kyrie Irving? Do you still feel that way, number one? And number two, what the hell made you come out with that video? Was it shock value? Was it clickbait?
I still feel that way.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he played bad, but I mean, he was injured, but he did play bad. Crazy enough, that's a video. Not a too long of a story. I remember I was going to make that video, and Agent kept telling me not to make the video because I could only come up with 4 reasons. And he was like, "Oh, it needs to be either 3 or 5." And da-da-da. And I was like, bro, I can't come up with another reason. I'm not going to force a reason for it. And then that started like a whole series for me where it's like 4 reasons why, da-da-da-da-da. And oddly enough, for people who don't know that, I think Agent on his channel right now, he stole the idea and put 4 reasons why on gaming channel. So crazy enough. But it really and truly just started through the idea of, like, I didn't like 2K enough to, like, play it religiously and then try to create content off of it. I liked it passively. Like, I was just playing it just to play it. It's cool, stuff like that. But the only thing I felt passionate enough for me to sit in front of a camera and talk endlessly was basketball.
And now you found some success. You start uploading consistently. When do you think you started to at least hit a mark where you like, hey, maybe I have something here? Your first upload is talking about Steph coming back from the 3-1, or at least LeBron coming back on the Warriors 3-1. You upload consistent, and now you see a little bit of traction. At what time was this?
It really wasn't. It wasn't that early. So so the first video, the Steph video he talking about, it hit like 300,000-400,000, right? Basically, my first ever basketball video. And to be fair, my other videos actually did pretty well too. Like one of them hit like 100,000, the other one hit like 70,000. So after I got done with, like, making rap content, all my other content did really well, like, considerably speaking.
Yeah.
And I remember I had quit Walmart. I'm at Home Depot and I'm just getting notifications ringing off, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm about to quit. I'm about to quit Home Depot. I didn't even tell my Dukes when I quit Home Depot. She's got a letter in the mail. Damn near kicked my ass out of the house. I'm not telling her. So then it took a second, because the one thing that I operated backwards, and I didn't mean to, but it was like the first couple of videos I did, they worked out really well for me. And what I mean by that is, and I've learned this, is that because the first few videos I uploaded were fairly successful, I never understood how to fail at creating content, which is important to acknowledge, because you need to understand what not to do. So I would upload videos and not really understand why or why not things weren't working. It was just working. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I just keep uploading, right? And so then I dragged the 4 reasons why all the way to the ground, and I'm trying to pivot and try to figure things out. And so it took a while. I'm gonna be honest with you, it didn't really click for me until I was like the year before I moved out my mom's house, so probably around like 2019. It was like a good 3 or 4 years before it started to really click for me.
I'm gonna tell you why that hit for me. I had somebody else up on the pod and we talked about it. I think, in my personal opinion, failing early and also having a real job is very, very important.
Yeah.
I worked warehouse jobs I hated, right? I worked temp agency jobs making nothing, right? I was taping boxes, flipping I was doing the craziest side jobs you can imagine with this dream of doing YouTube content. I started 2017. But the reason why that's important to me is because you say I'm at Walmart and I'm starting to see some traction and you decide to quit your job. That's important because
I ain't say that.
So you said you quit though.
I quit Walmart, but I didn't start making content until I was at Home Depot. So I quit Walmart.
Okay.
They bullshitting. They gave everybody raises and they were gonna tell me I'm only gonna take 10 cents. I was like,
yeah,
no.
This is crazy.
Crazy. So then I went to Home Depot and then I quit Walmart, went to Home Depot, numbers started going crazy. But Home Depot fired me, low-key. That's what really happened. Home Depot, like I said, Home Depot fired me. My mom did not know I got fired until she got the news in the mail.
Okay, got you.
I was lying to my mom and telling her, like, I'm going to Home Depot. I had a smock on and everything.
You was pulling the joint from Baby Boy. You said you was going to work.
I'm going to work.
Going to play Madden?
Bro, Home Depot sends because they were telling me, like, we're going to fire you, but if you're going to come and work Friday, you can, da-da-da. I'm like, man, I'm not about to come. What you talking about? So I never showed up. So I said the schmuck and everything. I'm going to Starbucks to edit YouTube videos.
No, that's crazy. Cosplaying a nigga with a job is crazy.
I'm sitting there with my smock on. I'm telling my mom, all right, mom, I'm going to Home Depot. Bro, Home Depot sends the letter in the mail saying, yeah, we fired this nigga. Mom called me, man, bring your ass back up to the house.
Yeah.
And then that's when I had to tell her. But that's actually what happened. I just got fired, bro.
Yeah.
But to be fair, she gave me like 6 months, 8 months to try to figure out. Then after that, I was like, bro, I gotta really figure out. So I worked at with a warehouse, not a warehouse, not Sam's Club. What's the other one?
Costco.
I worked at Costco's. I thought I was gonna get one on the south side of town. They got me. They told me, you got to drive all the way to Lenox and stuff like that over there.
What? From Fayetteville to Lenox?
Car broke down on the way.
Yep.
One day to it because that completely killed it. Had to quit there. Then I had a Sherwin-Williams job right up the street of the house.
Yep.
And then that was the year. I ain't gonna lie, that was a year.
Yeah.
Like you said, bro, having a job, it'll remind you what's
and that was my point, bro. Thank you for correcting me too, but that's my point, man. We know a lot of people who are blessed enough to start making YouTube videos at a young age and never look back and never have to deal with the reality of what the real world is, like dealing with jobs you don't like, dealing with employees you don't like, being at a situation where like, bro, I don't want to do this, but I have to. And when you finally get some traction and you finally start to see a little bit of light and you realize maybe I can do this full time, and you realize what you're walking away from and what you never want to go back to, the level of gratitude you hold that position with or that opportunity with is unparalleled to anything, because it's really one of the biggest blessings to be able to do something that you love for an actual job. Yeah. So you understand that balance because you worked a real job. And that's important, and I relate to that as well. So I think that's very important that we talk about.
And I don't think people, obviously now because how streaming and content is blowing up, people just think, and I don't even want to, maybe it is a level of entitlement, but people just think that like, yeah, you're going to make it, like you're fine, you can be a full-on paying job, bro. I'm going to let y'all know right now, when I first started working at Sherwin-Williams, my goal was to, all right, Sherwin-Williams going to pay me $1,000. Me and Agent had another podcast at the time called Off Top Podcast. I might get $1,000 from there, and then YouTube pay me about $2,000 to $3,000. All I was making about $2,000 to $3,000 on YouTube because early on I was making slightly more, but my dumbass here. Let me tell you all the way. My dumbass didn't even know to put multiple ads in the video.
Me either, bro.
So my first few videos, my first year or two on YouTube, bro. Even though I had like good solid views,
me too.
I wasn't making no money. So
that's crazy.
Eventually, I pieced it together. You know what's so crazy? Agent and I was actually on. I remember the day. I remember this vividly. The night when we both decided we're gonna start putting multiple ads in. Bro, this nigga
like it was an evil plan or something.
Because this nigga DDG in Flight was fucking dragging it. I was like, y'all are the audience was already used to like all that. So Agent, I was like, bro, what if we put 2 ads in the middle? nigga, because at the time it was taboo. It was like, damn, you killing it with the ads in the middle. Like, God damn. So we would put 2 ads in the middle. Bro, I remember that year when we did that. I know he was already making good money. I know for a fact he just shot up. Yeah. At that point, it went from me thinking like I could piece together like $4,000 between 3 streams of income to the end of it. I was like, bro, I'm making so much money on YouTube now where me having a job is actually interrupting me trying to witch-call. And what really messed me up, bro, I was at Sherwin-Williams. Omar bust through the door. LeBron signed to L.A. I'm stuck in the middle of an 8-hour shift.
You can't.
I'm sick. I am sick, bro. So then that's when I realized. But even then, I ain't gonna lie, because at that time I was like so accustomed to like I gotta have something consistent. For like a good 8 months of that last year, I was like working a regular job. I told my manager, I was like, yo, I'll work the weekends, which is basically a full-on open and close shift, and I'll work a half a shift during Wednesday, just so I can have more time during the week to make content. And then also when I was at the job, I was working because it really wasn't many people who were coming in the store during the weekends.
Man, hearing stories like this I promise you, is the reason why I wanted to start this pod, because I don't think a lot of people who watch you know what you went through to become the guy that they can depend on and watch on a daily basis. Bro, it's necessary, because I think people who reach some level of success, or whatever your version of success is, they tell this version where they tell you, man, I started from the bottom, and then they tell you how they rich and they got everything, but they don't talk about that middle part, how they had to walk to work for 6 months, and how it didn't work for 12 years. That's the shit that's important, because the person that wants to do what you're doing, they're going through that right now, and they believe, because they can't figure it out, and because they catching 3 buses to work, that it's never gonna work. Whole time, nigga, it happened to you too. But by not telling that part, you make it seem like it's so unobtainable when it's very similar. We all have these paths that are very rigorous, but I have to give you your flowers, because the only difference between you and the next man, you did not quit, nigga. You stayed the course and you still figured it out. So now you're creating YouTube content consistently. You're starting to see growth, and you found your lane. Your lane is now N.B.A. commentary. And boy, we got to talk about this, because you have some of the funniest and craziest N.B.A. commentary of all time. Currently, you do a lot of reactions or just videos on social commentary throughout the N.B.A. And what's funny to me is to hear your takes on what other N.B.A. players are saying on podcasts, talk shows. Is it ever almost kind of wild to hear some of these takes from NBA players and be that far off? You would believe, because they played in the league and they have this firsthand experience, that they wouldn't be so terribly wrong. But a lot of times you're just like, yo, bro, how the hell are you saying this with that experience?
At first, yeah. Now that because now I speak to some athletes a little bit more often, and I'm like, yeah, y'all just tripping.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's, to be fair though, it's just the way they contextualize a lot of things. Because like I'll talk to Gil, I talk to Teague, I've talked to Perk before, but when you start to realize like how they think about certain things, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I see why. Like trying to talk to Gil about like how like offense works and stuff like that, but then you go back and rewatch him, he's like in his mind, I'm just faster than everybody.
Yep.
So I'm about to just like go through everybody. I'm quicker, faster. I can get to the basket. I'm a better finisher than you. And then in his mind as well, like bro, I done put in way more hours than everybody else in the league not named Kobe, so I already know. So in his mind, when he talks about the sport, he thinks about it through that lens specifically. So crazy, I do think like when you have interactions with certain people, it actually is better to talk to athletes that were never really gifted at anything.
Yeah.
Because every single time I speak to like an athlete that is even an all-star caliber player or better, or even like because when I talk to Perk, offensively, he'll give a lot of grace, but in his mind, defensively, he's like, no, we just. I'm like, man, what's going on? Like, yeah, maybe you can do that, but like everybody can't do that. But when I speak to like a role player or something like that, they understand it more and they're far more comprehensive of a lot of things.
Like, for example, one of the videos that I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I was surprised that he said this, was when Pat Bev had that crazy commentary about somebody not being a Hall of Famer. I think it was Dame, right? Yeah. He said Dame wasn't a Hall of Famer. My nigga, how do you come up with that conclusion of a guy that's already top 75? Number one, he's already a Hall of Famer just off that alone. But the body of work that he has, when I hear an NBA player say something that flagrantly wrong, It's like, yo, but how can you have this idea of this concept? Like, my nigga, you played against him several times. Like, you know he's Hall of Fame.
But you know what's so crazy about Pat? But the reason why he thinking because from an accolade standpoint, because I don't think he think from a pure skill standpoint that he not a Hall of Fame.
But even from an accolade standpoint, bro, the niggas.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I also don't, like, you know what's so funny? I don't think a lot of NBA players know the history of the sport to that extent, especially some of the new ones. Bro, I mean, like, even listen to some of your interviews or other people's interviews, like OT and stuff like that, and you ask them about certain things, they just don't.
It's true.
They just don't know. So in his mind, he thinking, like, he probably doesn't know that there's, like, people who have made far less, all N.B.A., all-stars, some players who ain't never even been in the Hall of Fame who are been to the finals who are in the Hall of Fame. Like, T-Mac and Dame's careers are, like, very similar, just off of pure accolades alone.
Yes.
And he's in the Hall of Fame. But, like, Dame, to be fair, though, to Pat, I actually think, like, Pat is hella interesting.
Yeah.
Funny, too.
Yeah.
But he's also far more flexible than a lot of people on his take. So because I've had an interaction with him and I've, like, challenged him on certain things, he's like, you know what, you're right. So I appreciate, like, but again, no, not to Pat, but like, your role play. So I think there's certain things that he's far more flexible on, except for, like, anything that pertains to James Harden. Anything about Harden, he's not, you know. He been running around with a Harden better than Wade stuff. I'm like, damn, nigga, you a defensive player. Like, how do you not? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that. But yeah.
Speaking about being able to debate or talk about topics, one day I'm minding my business. I'm on Twitter. I'm in the Twitter space. I tapped into a lot of your Twitter spaces back then if I had the time. And you're talking about sports and you're talking about Kevin Durant. And oh my God, the nigga joins the Twitter space. Everybody get quiet. Everybody get mute. And you're the only one standing 10 toes on what you said before he joined. Number one, were you surprised that he joined the Twitter space? And number two, what was that like, the fact that you here talking to arguably one of the greatest scorers, one of the greatest players of all time?
I'm about to actually give you a good clip. Bro.
Yeah.
I ain't going to hold you. So I knew KD was going to join it live because I knew that he had the group chats. So the group chats, and everybody know. So for people who don't know, the group chats that he got busted with, like, a couple of months ago, people in the know have known about those group chats for, like, years at this point. So I knew that he was going to join because I already knew that there was conversations happening in the group chats about what I was saying. And then there were two people that I know, shout out to Ash and KB, who was gassing me to do it. And I think one of them either were in the group chat or they knew somebody that was in the group chat, so they knew that if I did it. And I was sitting there telling them, like, I don't really want to talk about it because I had already known enough about how KD felt about a lot of other things that I knew that if we had gotten to a space with him, and he wasn't going to be, you know, the way in which he speaks in general,
it would have been a little bit more political.
And he knew that like there was going to be people who were going to clip that up and stuff like that. So I already knew that he was going to get into space anyway, leading up to that, because I already knew that I was on, I guess, on the radar and stuff like that, and people were already talking about me in a group, and that whole interaction to me is so funny because Bleacher Report had, like, clipped out a segment that made it seem like I'm pussy or something. It's like, nah, bro, like, he's talking, and it's also, like, people have to understand, like, you don't have that same energy for them. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and, like, go crazy on somebody if the interaction we having is a fine, mature, cool, like, type of environment. I'm not about to sit and crash out on KD if this is my first time ever interacting with him.
Yeah.
And on top of that, most of the times, I'm not even really crashing out on an athlete rather than people and the stuff they saying. Like, KD probably think he's the best player in the league. So it's not even about being top 5, but everybody else telling me that he's top 5 when it doesn't make any sense if he is or isn't. Those are the people I'm more so talking about. But I more so use that as a way in which, because midway through that interaction, I was like, he just lying, bro. He not about to sit here. He ain't going to give, like, we're not going to have no genuine conversation. So then I just start letting other people talk because I'm like, I'm sitting there asking him questions about how he ranked players. He's like, I don't really rank people. I'm
yeah.
All right, bro. I know how you talk about other people in the group chat. So let's I guess allegedly. But yeah, like, allegedly I knew how you talk about niggas in the group chat. So, but overall though, it wasn't like, it was a cool moment. But in real time, I didn't really want to do it. And I knew what he was gonna do as well.
Yeah.
And I thought the way that people kind of played it was kind of crazy too.
Dude, maybe that was another day in the office, but when that shit happened, it was everywhere, bro.
Yeah,
it was everywhere. And I was just like, yo, this nigga really, and it was so cool because at that time, you might have guys, NBA guys, they might have small circles where they tap into, at this time, new media was still new. Like new media isn't as new as it was, right? And you was building this great following on Twitter where, you'll hold these spaces, you'll get a lot of people in them. And of course, people got burners. You never know who really in them for real, right?
That is true.
And
that is true.
KD come and join, and do you think that kind of helped like put a stamp on your voice? Because a lot of people compare you to they say you're the N.B.A. academics, and I talked to you about that, and we laughed about it. But I feel like it's small.
I hate that.
Okay. Why?
Because I feel like, and there's no not to. Well, I guess it is a bit of a not. But like, there's stuff that he do that I just don't do. There's like lines I'm not gonna sit here and cross and stuff like that. I understand it though. I feel like the run I've been over the past like 2 years is what has more so stamped me.
Yeah.
I think mostly people have just written that off as like some random dude on Twitter. But like over the past 2 years, even industry people have become more familiar with me, from like Chris Haynes to Kevin O'Connor and stuff like that. So I think that may have put me on the map a little bit, but I think more people left that interaction as, oh, that's just Kevin Durant interacting with fans rather than that's a
personality.
YouTuber interacting with KD and stuff like that. So yeah.
That was an amazing time though, bro. Like I remember that verbatim. I think I called you after that. I said, yo, bro. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, but that was cool, man. So, yo, another thing as far as like personalities, let me know if I'm tripping. It seems like to me, since Stephen A. Smith redid his deal and he got the big time deal that officially made him not only the voice of ESPN and the face of ESPN, but almost like the face of sports, because ESPN is leading the charge in sports. I feel like the narrative is starting to change with Stephen A. I think players don't like him no more, or they're not growing as fond of him anymore. I feel like media members are having more things to say negatively about what happened. And do you think it's correlating? Do you think niggas hating on Stephen A because he got a bag, or do you think it's rightfully so?
I don't know. I feel like, I do feel like the last year and a half has been like the perfect storm of just like,
he's never got this much negative press before.
Yeah, but to be fair though, he said a bunch of, like, the LeBron thing, I think is what really took it over the top.
And that happened the same day he signed, ironically.
Yeah. So the LeBron thing is what kind of really took it over the top. But the stuff that everybody else has been saying, like Michelle Beadle and Jason Whitlock, they've been saying things about him for years now. That's not really new. And I do think also him going a little bit harder on his own platform, independent media, and his own stretch, it then like amplifies his voice even more, because now there's even more of Stephen A. that's now being consumed, rather than like the very commercialized, we have segments here and there. He can just riff off whenever he wants to on the show. So now you get more personality from Stephen A. And I do think that there has been more of a way in which, I don't want to say drama-filled, but I do think part of what's becoming more sports commentary is also interacting with other people in their commentary as well. I'm not, y'all can leave it up to whoever y'all want to say is the person who made that popular or whatever. But I think that's becoming more of it, and so now more people are interacting with what Stephen A. has to say.
Yeah.
But I personally believe, and I'm going to give myself flowers, I personally believe I was probably the first person to really interact and react to people's takes.
Yes.
And then put it out on the internet.
That's true.
And then, because with Foot on the Line, I did that probably when Agent and I first moved together, probably around like 2019, 2020, around when the pandemic happened. And so I was probably the first, and there's like some videos between Stephen A., Perkins, and a few other people that have like a few 100,000 views on there that I know for a fact kind of guided the direction that we are right now. But to be fair, I also think that like it's a fair, balanced way to kind of show your ability as a debater or somebody who has some form of knowledge, if anyone is not necessarily giving you the platform to do so as well.
And I want to ask you, do you think, by Stephen A. Smith being the face, and not only that, he's getting more into politics, it's like he got his hands full of a lot of things. You've critically said you don't even know if he watches basketball anymore, because some of the stuff that he says just look like, nigga, did you watch the game? So what is your critique with him? I see a lot of content that you make. Sometimes you're like, yo, bro, this take is bad. Or sometimes just like, you like, bro, do you even still watch basketball?
But see, I think that to me is the biggest, and I think it's the fairest criticism of
him
as well. Because I do think certain things that people say about him may be a bit out of bounds, or they don't really have any, like, who really, like, what Jason Whitlock says, like, nobody doesn't really care about Stephen A.'s high school basketball career. Nobody doesn't really care. But I do believe that Stephen A. is quickly become down the path. And I think this is fair, but like being a professional opinionist rather than a journalist or an expert or an analyst on anything. And so he's recognized that he could use his voice in ways in which it's like, all right, as long as I can formulate an opinion on this, then I can then leverage that into viewership. And he's done that not only with basketball, but then at ESPN, they actually just do basically everything. So basketball, baseball, hockey. Now you got Stephen A. talking about MMA and stuff like that, and he has no idea what he's talking about. And he's very clear. And then now you're entering into the realm of politics, and it's cool if you don't really know much about why, Walker Kessler out in Utah is a really good basketball player that you may be sleeping on. And it's cool if you can't accurately, assess who's going to win the finals or something like that, because that stuff is trivial. But then when you get into the realm of politics and you're just trying to be a professional opinionist, you're talking about shaping opinions and giving voices to people who will quite literally alter people's lives.
Yeah.
That's where Stephen A. loses me completely. He completely loses me. And I think anybody who criticizes him in that fashion, I think is a very valid criticism that I don't think he's actually going to respond to. And that's another thing I don't like about Stephen A. He is very meticulous on who he responds to. So even recently when he got into a back and forth with a few other people, he purposely decided to respond to certain people that he knew would be a layup to respond to.
Yeah.
He responded to Kwame Brown, and I think he responded to Mace. But then Nick Wright gave him a very clear and articulate manner, and then he just refused to ignore him completely. And it's like, bro, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, and there's certain people he decides to purposely not to respond to, which then leaves it up for interpretation. And again, if you're doing basketball, I guess it's cool, it's trivial, but you entering politics, I think is just bad. I think it's really, really bad, actually.
Yeah, and it seems like just in general, like your ideology of debate TV, right? I mean, you spoke about like, you said Skip Bayless time, what's up? I know you talked a little bit about Stephen A. Smith, but you believe that debate TV is currently not connecting because mainly you would say, it's teams out there in Utah balling, right? It's teams that the NBA is not even talking about. It's records being set, nobody talking about, and y'all rather have a LeBron versus Jordan debate. What do you think is the biggest problem with debate TV in sports? Is it because we're getting more personalities than journalists at this point? Because I think ESPN does a great job of hiring great personalities on TV, but it's like, I don't know if they do a great job with hiring people that's actually covering the league. You will have to get into something more niche-based like NBA TV.
Yeah, to be fair, and I do think, credit to Stephen, I think he's pivoted away from the archaic debate-style format of him and one other person, because I do think it's very difficult. I think the biggest problem with debate content is like trying to find two personalities that mesh well with one another that can really debate about something for an extended period of time. And, Skip Bayless, as much as I don't like him either, very, like, profound in the idea of, like, being able to formulate an opinion that may be a bit adjacent from everybody else. And then you're sitting there trying to argue for literally days at a time about something that only you and somebody else can argue. But overall, I do think that, like, part of the problem is that you end up finding yourself trying to argue a point instead of trying to get to a resolution. So you're not even trying to, like, we're just sitting here arguing for the sake of arguing.
Yeah.
And I have my point, you have your point, and there's no actual end to this conversation. We're just trying to sit here and keep the facade up that, like, we have two different opinions that both of us strongly agree on. But the truth of the matter is you probably don't actually agree on it, or somebody's now presenting you with new information, but now you have to stand so firm in what you're saying that it's not even believable anymore. So I think that's the bigger issue. But to be fair, I think Stephen A., rightfully so, pivoted away from that.
Yep.
I think he's made himself more of the focal point and brought in new personalities, kind of cycling on a day-to-day basis. I think that's probably a better way to entertain people as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you briefly mentioned you don't like Skip Bayless. Currently, you make a lot of content talking about Gil's Arena situation, how they transitioned out of that. What is your beef with Skip Bayless, and why do you think every show that he becomes a part of, you just like, that's not the right guy? Why is Skip not the right guy?
I just think he washed. I think it's done for him, bro. I think he's done. I think it's done, bro. Because he is still, even in his attempt to try to pivot into like internet content, it's still very like formulaic. It's still the way in which he likes to function in a realm of like I talk in a certain cadence and I pause and I break, and it's really good for TV because the way in which it works, it's very much so. We have this segment, commercial break, you go, I go. It goes in that fashion. But I also just think that as he continued to progress, it's more evident that, like, I don't even know if you really believe what you're saying. And even if you do, you're not even a credible outlet to come to for any new information and new POV. It's just the same thing over and over again. Even when Skip was on, they did an episode with him and Stephen A.
Yeah.
And I guess for, like, nostalgic purposes, like, it must have been a great episode. But then, like, I literally heard a segment, and I'm like, bro, he's literally saying the exact same thing he was saying 7 years ago when he was on ESPN, or how many ever years ago it was. He's saying the exact same thing in the exact same cadence.
Yeah.
And like, everything is exactly the same. And you're telling me over the last 8 to 10 years with new information, like, Bron has won another championship.
Yeah, right.
Like, Curry has won another one. Like, you're telling me your opinion about none of these players have changed. Like, it just doesn't even make any sense. So that's my biggest issue. Also, he's just like, I think a lot of his opinions are very skewed and manipulative just so he can have an opinion about something that he probably doesn't really, I think he believes them.
Yeah.
But just for him to, like, get the job done of me having an opinion on something, I think that's my biggest issue is, like, bro, there's certain things you don't really have to have a stance on. Like, nobody doesn't really care that much about this thing.
I think your criticisms are fair when it comes to Skip. I like the fact that you give people their flowers. Like, yeah, you a pioneer. You one of the guys who started this and got a leg up. But you're not perfect either. Like, come over here. And I think it's very important for me. It's funny how, like, these people who literally make a living off of critiquing can't be critiqued.
That's the other
right.
issue.
Like if you say something wrong about these guys, bro, like, they will go on for days. You would think you hold yourself a little bit more accountable for things when your job is to literally talk to guys and talk about guys and expect them to be held accountable. It's kind of crazy, the irony in that.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue. I think maybe Skip. The problem with both Skip and Stephen, it ain't really a problem. I think Stephen A. is just really good at, like, producing content.
Yeah.
So, like, even when he's been trying to bait somebody to get in front of him and debate about certain things, really for, like, the past, like, 6 or 7 months now.
Yeah.
He's been really, even before that, even with, like, the LeBron situation, he's trying to bait somebody to do that because he knows, like, that's the best way to not only get his point across, but to approach somebody. The only person I think he's got to sit down is Jaylen Brown for that one time. And then fast forward to where we are right now, I think he kind of ruined the relationship again.
Yep.
Skip, however, I think that even if he's open to criticism, I just think the way, like you said, the way in which they may consume it and take it, and it's just like, you may hear someone being critical, but then it's like the way in which you interpret it is completely different. Like the Kyrie situation with Stephen A. Like, everybody was saying the same thing. Like, it seems like you got a vendetta against it. Like, something is going on. He's in denial about it just for him a year later to say, you know what, you was right. I took it too far. I had to go apologize to his dad and stuff like that. So then it's like, if it gets to that point, then everything we were saying before was right about you. So stuff like that is where I think it gets too far. I forgot about that. It's a lot of things that Stephen A. has done over the past 2 to 3 years. I think it's just fair criticism.
Yo, bro, like, I remember verbatimly, like, it was times where, you know, people were talking about Bron versus Jordan in these debates, and you're like, yeah, I never had a problem with Bron. Like, I'm a straight shooter. And then they get into it, I never liked his ass. I'm like, oh, wait, you never liked him? Like,
you would have thought he never said that. The way in which he's saying, I've never liked him. Like, bro, you just told me 6 months you had no problem with him.
Literally.
Now all of a sudden you never liked him.
And I know you got to kind of play the game, but I do think it's a way where you can be authentic and still be yourself without ruining relationships to where, like, you know, if you don't like it, just don't say nothing at all. You don't have to outright say, like, I never had a problem with LeBron, because, like, sometimes, you know, openly being biased, I don't feel like it's nothing wrong. I feel like academics, he'll tell, I don't like Meek Mill. Like, so he's telling you his bias, right? So he doesn't later have to come out and you see it's like a contradictory within what he's saying. So I think, you know, a lot of times they don't accept criticism, and when shit hit the fan and they don't go their way, you see how they really feel.
But that's the journalist in him.
Yes.
The journalist in him can't admit that he's viewing things through a biased lens, which is understandable because he's trying to not be biased. And I do appreciate that effort, but it's like there's certain things you say about somebody where it's like, it's very clear, like, you got, come on, dog.
We're going to get off this subject, but before we do, bro, I remember clear as day, he's talking big boy shit on ESPN, and he's just like, yeah, if you ever had a problem with me, I'm in the arenas. You can come up and talk to me. I'm right there. And Bron walk up to this nigga in the arena like he asked. He get on TV. You could have called me. Like, yo, bro, you literally said.
He's been talking that way for years.
Bro, and this is, I'm not lying. You can go and find this shit yourself. He's literally daring niggas in the NBA to walk up to him if you have a problem with him and confront him because I'm everywhere. I'm in South Beach. I'm in New York. You can come holler. And in the moment this nigga
he was saying, oh, if you want me in the locker room, I'll be there too.
Literally. In the moment a nigga actually do it, he was trying to put on a show. He waited till the cameras was on. I'm just like, yeah, you can't win.
You can't. He said he made it seem like it was a conspiracy theory.
The cameras.
I'm like, bro, it's in Staples Center, man. They like, what do you think is going to happen? It's in Staples Center in front of tens of thousands of people with a broadcast.
Bro.
Hundreds of thousands of people. You don't think nobody was ever going to catch that? Like, what are you talking about, bro?
That's hilarious, man. As we transition out of that, we almost done, but I can't let you leave without talking a little bit of basketball. Okay, so your Los Angeles Lakers are officially moving out of the LeBron James era, and now it seems like they're giving Luka the keys. As a lifelong Lakers fan, do you approve of the transition, and what are you expecting out of this new Laker nucleus?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have to transition. I mean, LeBron is 41. I mean, there's no being in denial about that and being inevitable. To me, never really made any sense. People still wanting him to come back, to me, doesn't make any sense. Like, he's 41. Like, I mean, at some point, especially because I don't think the Lakers are at a point right now where they could put a team around him or put a team that features him that could get the best out of him while getting the best out of everyone else. They need those spots on the floor to be filled with better defenders and three-point shooters or better athletes, younger players, roll the dice on certain players as well. I'd rather the Lakers focus on something that is sustainable more than just a year or two at a time with LeBron's contract, rather than, try to win now instantly when you don't really have the pieces to do so. So I approve of it. My expectations is always just to be growing towards something that results into a championship.
Yeah.
I don't ever expect, some Laker fans are like, every year is a failure if you don't win. I don't believe that, because that means the Lakers have done more failing than not failing, because we've been around for such a long time. But I feel like as long as we are building towards something that makes sense, regardless if it's now or 5 years from now, then I'm all for it. But if things are starting to materialize and it's like, okay, what are we doing here? That's my frustration. That was the same thing with the LeBron era as well, where there was just certain things that was happening where it's like, this does not make any sense.
Yeah.
No matter how you cut it or slice it, it just doesn't. It's not going to make any sense now. Not going to make sense 3 years from now. Like, what exactly are we doing? Because even if we didn't win, at least put a team or at least build a team towards something that makes sense. So that's my goal every single year with the Lakers, is to try to do something that makes sense to build towards something greater.
As an NBA fan, I enjoyed the LeBron era, but I do feel like, and this is just my honest opinion, Laker fans, LA fans did not appreciate LeBron throughout that time as much as they could. I don't feel like you had to glaze them, but I'm literally seeing people say, oh, LeBron's gone, I can be a Laker fan again. I just think that's completely out of pocket. So I'm gonna run you through some things, man. 2013, 2014, the Los Angeles Lakers was 27-55, the worst record in the NBA. 2014, 2015, 21-61, the worst record in the NBA. 2015, 2016, 17-65, the worst record in the NBA. 2016, 2017, 26-56. These are real records, my nigga. This is consistent, okay? 2017, 2018, 36-47.
That's not that bad.
Not that bad. Not that bad. Whatever. That is pretty bad, especially for Lakers standards, as you mentioned. 2018, 2019. This is LeBron's first year on the Los Angeles Lakers. You guys go 37-45. Remember, LeBron's dealing with a lot of injuries at this time. He didn't even play the full season. He was hurt, and y'all just missed the playoffs, and a lot of that had to do with him not playing that back half of that season. His second year, his first full year for the Lakers, 2019-2020, you won a championship. In his second year, fully healthy. why do you guys dislike LeBron so much as if he came here and ruined something that was A, going well, and B, like he didn't contribute as soon as he possibly could? Where did the hate narrative come from?
I think, a couple of things. I think part of it is because, like, the LeBron and Kobe, and I don't want to say a beef, but, like, fandom is, like, who's better between the two.
It was split.
So, yeah, you go from the Kobe era to the LeBron era. So, like, there's going to be some, like I was just rooting against them for, like, the last 8 years or whatever. The other aspect, though, is that I don't know, me personally, I hate when people do what you just did. Like, run down. But it's fair.
I have to give context for the situation.
But the only reason why is because it's like, because then you almost then validate why people believe that way. Let me explain. When you run through, like, the Lakers' low points, you're like, man, for Lakers' expectation, this is bad. It strips the context of, like, damn, we can't have a bad 5-year stretch after Kobe tears his Achilles. Like, that was something that just happened out of the blue that changed everything. So then it's like, if the expectation for the Lakers is that even after Kobe tears his Achilles, that we still have to be a competent franchise, even though everybody's getting older and we're not heading in that direction anyway. So then that sets everything up for, well, if that's the case, when LeBron gets here, then the expectation is going to be to win a championship every single year, which I don't think is a very realistic thing to do. But, like, if your expectations is to be like, well, even when Kobe tears Achilles, y'all still got to be good, that means then when LeBron comes here, then the expectation is going to be championship every single season.
Nah, see, this is where I got to get some pushback. I don't think people bring up those numbers to belittle the franchise after Kobe has a career-ending injury. I think they put it into perspective because it's just like, you guys almost make it seem like we had a good thing going for you, show. Nigga, no, you didn't.
No.
You literally didn't.
No.
You're one of the best players, if not, depending on, if you like Magic, Kareem, or Kobe. Obviously, a lot of younger guys, they say Kobe's the greatest like ever, whatever. Yeah. One of your greatest players of all time can no longer play the game.
Yeah.
And he's not coming back, right? You're struggling at an all-time high, regardless of the fact if you plan for it or not. Life is life, nigga, and it's giving you the work.
Okay.
This guy comes out of nowhere to a place that really don't want him in the first place and give you a ring in 2 years. Just ease up, bro. It's just like, yo, ease up.
But again, you said for Lakers standards. So when you
because you can't have that standard if you're Portland. It just don't exist.
Yeah, but that's Portland though. If you saying you joined the Lakers and you're saying Lakers standard, this is not my belief.
It's me.
So if you're saying for Lakers standards, the Lakers having a bad 5-year stretch after Kobe tears his Achilles, then you're also having to acknowledge that the Lakers standards when LeBron comes is to win multiple championships, because that is a Lakers standard. Again, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. But I also think that, and I think this is like, I think that the actual core problem is that a lot of LeBron fans on the internet drag a lot of things.
That's true.
They drag it.
Yeah.
They drag it. And so then it's like, if you don't do everything that LeBron that is maybe speculating that he is suggesting to do, or if you don't kiss his feet, if you don't do all this, then it's like, oh y'all hate him. And don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of Laker fans that were weird when LeBron got here, and they're still weird. But I do think some of the relief of LeBron leaving, or even part of him being on the floor, had nothing to do really with LeBron, rather than the circus that comes with LeBron.
That's true.
A lot of LeBron fans, the way in which the media covers certain things. Like, even right now, I love Chris Haynes. Shout out to Chris Haynes. But Chris Haynes, like, he broke a story about how, it ain't really a Chris Haynes thing, but Chris Haynes broke a story about how LeBron really didn't want Russell Westbrook first. He really wanted DeMar DeRozan. And then now you got, like, a bunch of LeBron fans saying, see, I told you so. They weren't going to get DeMar because of his salary. But in my mind, I'm like, DeMar is also a bad fit for the team as well. So it's like,
can't stretch the floor. He's a great player, but just don't fit the.
It don't really fit an AD and LeBron duo. So then it's like, it doesn't even really matter. We sat, and LeBron still pursued Russell Westbrook anyway. Like, him and AD went on lunch or whatever that was with Russell. It's like, regardless if that was his first or second option, both options really were not that good anyway. But then it's like, we can't even have that dialogue about what would or wouldn't make sense, because you just didn't do what LeBron wanted. So then it's like, yo, that's the real problem, is that you didn't do what LeBron wanted. And it's like, bro, we went into the situation when LeBron first got here. We traded literally everybody for Anthony Davis for it to start immediately. Like, as soon as LeBron, so then it's like, if you trade all your draft picks, if you trade all your young players, I don't know what else you expect to trade for the next 3 to 4 years. I know, especially after you do that and then you trade for Russell Westbrook. It's like, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
we've now lost our flexibility for 4 straight years. It's done. So then it's like, what else are we supposed to do?
Yeah, valid point. All my Lakers fans watching, y'all got to do better, bro. Hopefully, y'all love Luka. Y'all don't hold Luka to these crazy expectations. Hopefully, if Luka bring y'all a championship, y'all don't poo-poo on a championship. It's nasty. I ain't gonna lie. It's toxic over there, bro. I can't be a Lakers fan. It's nasty work. A nigga come there, win a ring in 2 years, and you like, yo, yeah, I'm happy he's going. That's nasty work, bro. It's still franchises that exist in the NBA that's never did it. So that's nasty. I don't care what standard.
You don't think Warrior fans felt fine when KD left?
Yeah, because they still had the difference between KD is you got to remember they won one before KD got there, right? They won before KD got there. KD came and he helped out, but they weren't struggling and down on their ass before KD. They was 73-9 before he came, bro. Like it's not the same situation.
Okay.
But I digress. We also got other big news within the NBA that I'm very curious to hear your topic and taste on. Jaylen Brown. The narrative around Jaylen Brown has gotten so nasty to where I feel like Brad Stevens, people within the Celtics organization, are literally changing the narrative to attack his character to justify the trade. Yeah. He was traded, obviously, to Philadelphia for Paul George. What do you think about, and some picks, what do you think about that trade and all of a sudden the character bashing and just a smear campaign on a guy who's done nothing wrong?
He's going to go back to the Stephen A. Smith stuff because he swears up and down that nobody doesn't hate Jaylen Brown just for like the next week. People are just killing him. Yeah. But, okay, the correct answer to give is that they really and truly had no other choice but to trade JB unless they were willing to pay him. Like that was it. He was owed for an extension. If they didn't trade him at this point, his value would have continued to go down, and it really wasn't that high anyway. And I think in pursuit of trying to trade him, no. I'm not saying this. This is the logical reason why they did it. I'm not saying it's the right. I'm just saying this is why they logically did it.
You're right, and I don't want to cut you off, but you said something very important to me that really struck my nerve. His value went down. Mm-hmm. Why did his value go down?
No, I'm saying his value would have kept going down because he would have had fewer years left on his contract.
Yeah.
So then it would have been like, instead of us having JB for 2 or 3 years and he potentially walks, we would have been trading him for potentially a 1-year rental. That's what I mean. Now, going back to the other side, I do think that there was a push for a bunch of information that really and truly didn't even need to get out.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff that it was being said, it was like, what does this do to further the conversation at all? Rather than to, I think, and I not even think I know this for a fact, that certain general managers and people who are in some form of power, they will like convey information to certain people because they know that these people will say the thing that they're trying to say and want to get out there. And some of these people are so, I don't even say they're hungry for attention, but it's just their job to like relay information. And so now you have potentially an organization that their fan base or a bunch of people may want them to trade for Jaylen Brown, but they needed to be known out there that, well, they're asking for too many picks. Or they want to get data. Like, for example, we wanted Jaylen Brown potentially in Milwaukee, but they weren't willing to give up Hugo Gonzalez. So that's the like now we got now we got to sit here and put that out there to try to justify why we didn't do a trade. So that's the much bigger problem. But some of that stuff is just I don't even understand what the point of even saying some of this stuff is.
It's nasty. And then when you actually sit back and you look and you like, yo, bro, he's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
He's done nothing wrong. If you got a problem with a grown man being on Twitch after a game, that's on you, bro. Like, being on Twitch is a lot better than the reality of what a lot of guys with a lot of money and a lot of power does on their free time. He's in a house, controlled environment. He's not doing anything, breaking any contracts. Yes, he's a very smart guy, maybe outspoken at times, but it's not a direct conflict. My problem is, and where I saw with Jaylen Brown, it's like, yo, bro, I never cheated the game. I'm the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I'm the Finals MVP. When they said that we were done and we were washed, we didn't have a chance, we were one of the best teams in the NBA and at the top of the East. I love JT. He's one of my favorite players, but reality is like, okay, cool. Everybody's saying, hey, they can't have both. They had to choose. I didn't just get off of an injury. Yeah. Right? I'm good. I'm one of the most dependable two-way players in the NBA. I'm not the one that just came off of being hurt.
I agree.
Why is it me that got to get tossed? The obvious reason is, well, he's more quiet. But at this point, I thought it was about the game. Is it not about the game? I feel like it's starting to peel back layers. And the more we start to dig into layers, Brad Stevens had a comment where he was just like, he spoke publicly about the reason why he made a decision. And a lot of people don't understand, like, okay, cool, they can't pay everybody, right? Yeah. He said that the reason why he had to get rid of him because he can't have two players taking up 70% of the salary cap. Paul George making $50 million. So you still got two people taking up the same amount of salary cap. He get 50 a year.
But he talking about when he going to get 70 because there's going to be a year where JB gets 70.
True. But my thing is, PG is coming in, getting the same 50 that this nigga was getting. So the same money on the books is on the books. I think you could at least got a little bit more out of it before you got him out of there because you got to make the money make sense when you make a trade.
Because
he never asked to be traded.
No. Okay, I will say this. They should have went at least one more year before they trade him because you have no idea what's about to happen this year, especially with Tatum. You asking him to come off of what could be a career-altering injury to go out there and go carry an offense in ways in which he's just genuinely speaking has never had to do his entire career. I think that is crazy. And I also think you could have gotten more value out of Brown in a trade watching him go out there and compete potentially at another high level with someone like Tatum for an entire year. So I agree. I think they should have waited one more year if they were going to pull the trigger. But at the end of the day, like they had to. I hear what you're saying about like the Paul George contract is also crazy.
Yeah.
But after the 2 years, he's up. They're not going to sign him back. They're going to try to make space for somebody else.
I don't think we've ever seen somebody get blackballed before in the league. Maybe I think the first time we seen something like that was the Isaiah Thomas Dream Team thing. I won't say he was blackballed, but Jordan was like, "Yo, you get him, I'm out."
We've seen it. We've seen it a couple times.
What other situations can you think of? Because I couldn't think of it. Yes.
Yeah, he got blackballed. To be fair,
yeah, it's just the idea that Jaylen Brown don't make Team USA, but you got Derek White on the team. You got guys like, right? You got Drew Holiday. I know it's about pieces. Yeah, it's about fit. But it's unexcusable, gang. It's unexcusable that he's just out there.
Would it have been better if he was just sitting on the bench?
He wouldn't have been.
He would have been, man.
You think? I mean, Jason Tatum didn't play that well. He barely played. Tyrese Halliburton barely played. But it's just like
he would have been on the bench.
But Derek White was playing.
He barely played too. They had so many wings.
Drew Holiday was. I just don't like the fact that it didn't. I don't think he would have been on the bench. Me personally, I don't.
They had Devin Booker, KD, and LeBron,
and Ant. Yeah.
How many more wings that you? Because they had.
Like I said, I'm naming two wings though. I'm naming. There's no way you could.
But Tatum barely played though. Tatum barely played. Hallie didn't play. Derek White and Drew, they may have played occasionally.
They did
to get back up for Curry, but for the most part, but it would have. Me personally, I think it would have been worse if they had JB out there and he was only playing like 5 minutes. Because the whole thing with Tatum was like, why ain't Tatum playing? But there was a reason why Tatum wasn't playing. He wasn't making no shots.
Yeah, facts. But that's why I said, like, you can't convince me that you got Derek White and Drew Holiday on a Team USA team representing the United States of America and not have JB. If he don't play, he don't play. The nigga need a jersey. He need to be on the team, bro. It's unexcusable.
But they did it for defense and shooting.
He's a two-way play. This is not. I'm not talking about.
Though. They're better defenders.
Maybe they are better.
Yeah,
but what you're gaining offensively and what you're still getting defensively, you can't tell me that doesn't weigh out. He's not a liability. He's going to play defense.
He's not a liability, but he's not as good of a shooter as they are, though. He is 3-point shooter. If I need 3-and-D players, I'm going to go with Derek White and Drew Holiday over you. Especially when we have more than enough offense. I'm out there with Curry, KD, LeBron, and Embiid, Booker. Like, Embiid was playing so bad, they said, you need to sit the front.
Literally.
That's what, so I hear what you're saying.
Nah. Because I don't think.
In my opinion, I think he should have had Hallie's spot. There was no because they had enough guard play.
Yeah.
I don't know why Hallie was out there. Hallie to me didn't make no sense.
It's just small things like that, and then you get stuff like this where you hear all these talks and you hear all these different stories, and then I like the fact that Jaylen Brown is state your source, because I also believe that there are sources in the NBA and people who tell guys like Stephen A. Smith and other media members very important information that they would like to get out, and of course you can't expose yourself because you work for the organization. However, I also do believe that when it comes to integrity and being a journalist, a lot of guys do hide behind sources and be like, somebody told me.
Yeah.
But it's really how you feel, and you have to agree to that at some point, because you even spoken about the hypocrisies that a guy like Stephen A. would say, like, I never liked him. right? So if you lie to us about that, you'll probably also be like somebody, because who's going to check you on that? Like, where's the checks and balances of who told you that, right? Like, if you write a column in a newspaper, whoever you work for, they have to verify this before the shit hit the press. Yeah. There is nobody to verify who your source is, and it's very, very believable that if niggas don't like you, they can just say, yeah, somebody very close to him told me that, yeah, this, that, and that, and we just take it and go on with it.
But see, I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think the bigger picture was, I think teams are trying to get information out to justify why we're not trading for him, why we're not giving up draft capital, why we're not pursuing him to that extent, and it's because analytically, whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm gonna be honest with you, everything to me is almost excusable. But when people try to say what he said on that Twitch stream is the reason why, or that to me,
you feel me?
I'm like, bro, there's so many things that happen on and off a basketball court, in the locker room, all this other stuff. Like Colin Cowherd going, this to me is when I was like, you lost it.
Yeah.
Colin Cowherd saying that he was a disease and what he had said on Twitch, I'm like, bro, we're dragging it. We all know there's certain things that happen that are far worse than what someone says on a Twitch stream. And what makes it, and this is where I even look at media, bro, like Colin Cowherd talking about something is a disease or not. Brother, in your own makeup room, what happened over there in Fox?
Facts.
You talking about what happened on a Twitch stream, what happens behind the scene on your network.
Yeah.
And that you ain't saying nothing about it. So you think that's a disease. The stuff that we done learned about some of the people that you work with is a disease. And none of y'all not saying nothing until something comes out. So my issue is everybody's acting as if like the stuff that he said on Twitch is like the worst thing. I'm like, brother, y'all work for companies where there's things that happen behind the scenes that are far worse than that man saying, this was my favorite year.
Literally.
Trust me, it's not that big of a deal. Y'all are buying into nonsense to try to justify trading him because that's nowhere near close enough of a good enough excuse to trade Jaylen Brown right now. It's not. Just say you don't want to pay him and keep it pushing.
The Orlando Magic got more for Desmond Bane than the Boston Celtics got for Jaylen Brown. It just don't make sense. And then we gonna get off the subject, but then when they say things like, "Oh, well, if your value isn't high, you go and try to get somebody. You go and try to get a Hall of Famer if the value isn't there." But it goes back to me saying the diminishing of the value came from people in the Celtics organization coming up with crazy narratives about this man. So you can't help in the teardown of this man's value and then blame that same value to why you couldn't get anything. Shut up.
Yeah.
Don't say anything.
That's true.
Like, that's period. Is this, I'm going to ask you straight up, will this trade go down as the worst trade in NBA history and take over the Luka Anthony Davis trade?
Not even close. The Luka one is bad because AD played. We can probably count on our hands how many games AD.
That first game he was killing too before he messed up. Yeah, he had like 30 and 15 and a half, bro.
Like, bro, they went through a whole AD experience.
He was killing, bro.
Crazy, dominant on both ends. Bro. Him roaming
like
around
4 blocks in the first half.
Yeah, I was like, bro, this is crazy right here. And then he got hurt. It wasn't the exact same. And I was like, damn, bro, they saw the full AD experience, bro. To me, that's the worst one. That to me is the worst. You lost a generational player for basically a first-round pick in Max Christie.
But you don't think trading away a guy who averaged 29 points,
that's worse.
fourth to MVP voting,
that's worse, bro.
Finals MVP.
They got more draft picks out of it.
Yeah, they got a lot of draft picks. You're right.
Yeah. Come on, they got more draft picks out of that than they got at 80. Like, that's a bad trade. That's probably going to go down as the worst trade ever.
Yeah,
either that one or the Shea and Paul George trade.
That one was crazy too.
Those two are much worse.
Yeah, that Shea Paul George trade was a little crazy. A couple more questions before I let you get up out of here. This draft class, a lot of people are saying, is one of the best draft class we've seen since 96, 2003. I know you don't watch college basketball, but as a person who do, very special class. In my opinion, the top 5 picks of this year's draft could have all been number 1 picks in other drafts. They're that good. Caleb Williams, amazing. AJ, as you know, nice. Darius Acuff, DP, Cam Boozer, so much good talent. Do you think that this new wave of NBA talent what do you think about the draft class? Where do you think it ranks amongst the other draft classes? And what are you expecting from these guys?
We gotta wait to see, but it's definitely gonna be up there. I mean, I'm watching Peterson right now. He crazy, bro. He's nice. It's gonna be for sure up there. Is it gonna reach 03, 96, 85 level? Potentially not. But if it's like just the next tier below it, that's more than enough there. And like you said, it's probably like 3 or 4 legitimate franchise guys in this draft class. I think that's the separator. But overall, this is what I was saying before. Like, bro, the NBA is in an amazing space right now. A lot of people, like, over the past 2 to 3 years, like, really tripping about, like, oh, my God, I don't know what's going to happen with the NBA because the ratings are going down. Bro, like, with the emerging of Wemby, and then now we got a great draft class. Cooper Flagg just had an amazing season. VJ Edgecombe, Con Knipple. Bro, it's an amazing place for the space to be in right now. So I'm just looking forward for the next generation of basketball players, too, because I do think that they are here. Like, without a doubt, they're here.
Yeah, it's an amazing time to be an NBA fan, especially if you've been tapped in. DP has been playing amazing already. He's looking like a pro. He looked like a pro in Kansas. That's why you should watch college basketball, man. It's like you get such an advantage on who's going to be – is it the pace?
No, it's just everybody else. Like, you're right. When you watch one player dominate, they look amazing.
Yeah, bro.
But then it's like I have to sit here and watch everybody else in the court who I know are not. They're not good enough.
Okay.
And
Okay.
That part I can't get over. It's
Okay.
like, bro, like why are you not setting a screen? Why are you not cutting right there? Why are you not like? I'll just start analyzing it in ways in which is kind of unfair to them too because they're young. So yeah, I can't do that.
All right, man, before we leave, I got a segment called In the Scope where I put you in the scope. I ask you 5 questions that solely depend on your answer. Don't be politically correct. Just be you, man. Just answer the questions as real as you possibly can, all right?
Okay.
All right, so for my guy, Low, all right, who's your GOAT? I know it's a low-hanging fruit conversation, but when I speak to a basketball mind and somebody who makes basketball content and who I respect their opinion, I'm very intrigued to know who is the greatest of all time in your eyes.
I'm still going to go Jordan. I'm going to go Jordan.
You say that like you didn't want to, though.
No. 2 months ago, I think I said LeBron. I'm still going to say Jordan.
Oh, so now you hypocrite. Now you ain't.
I'm going to go Jordan. I'm going to still stay Jordan. I just think that his highs are just, they crazy, bro. His highs are crazy. And he don't have that many lows at all, so I'm gonna go Jordan.
Okay, so you got Jordan as your GOAT. Can't be mad at that. Number 2, I want you to build a starting 5 with every player in NBA history, the best, the worst, whatever. What is your starting 5 building from scratch?
I'm gonna put Curry at the 1. If I'm building my own, I'm gonna put Kobe at the 2, but Jordan would be the 2.
No, this is your list. This is your list.
It'll be Kobe, Curry in the backcourt. LeBron at the 3, KG at the 4, and then Shaq at the 5.
Now this is where I have a small problem. You know what you just did, bro? I forget what year, 2013, 2012, one of these years. LeBron James did not win Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Marcus All did.
Yeah.
And Marcus All was second team all defense.
For sure.
NBA. How can the nigga who you say is the best defender of the year not be first team all defense?
Uh-huh.
You said that Michael Jordan is your GOAT a question ago.
Yeah.
But you're not even putting him in the starting lineup with the best players available, but you putting Bron there. It's just kind of contradicting, though.
But Kobe's my favorite player, though. So if it's my team, I'm going to put my favorite player
But you wouldn't want the greatest player of all time playing for your team?
Kobe, close enough. We got enough talent around. That's fine. But, I mean, yeah, obviously, like, Jordan is better than Kobe. So if I had to just fill out the roster with just pure talent, then sure. But if it's my team, my favorite player,
that's fair. That's fair. I try to press him, but that's a hell of an answer. That's a really I can't get mad at that. All right, number 3 is a little bit up in the air. Okay, who is the worst number 1 draft pick of all time?
That's not even. It's Anthony Bennett.
Okay, I agree.
That Risha shit getting close though. Yo, Zach, I ain't gonna lie, bro. You're getting close. I cannot lie. Bro, you ain't playing no meaningful minutes and blowout games in the playoffs. It's tough for you, boy. I was telling Hawks fans, y'all got to trade that man ASAP. There's no rhyme or reason why he should be on that team, bro. None.
Born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Diehard Cavs fan, diehard Guardians fan, diehard Browns fan. I remember sitting on the couch, me and my brother, we watched every NBA draft together, and we got so many people in this draft. Victor Oladipo's in this draft.
Yes.
Giannis. I didn't know Giannis at the time, so I'm not going to act like I do, but Giannis is in this draft. Just to give you a little idea of who's in this draft. Rudy Gobert was in this draft. I believe Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he came out of UGA, was in this draft. Yeah, it was so many good players in this draft. I wanted Victor Oladipo. I watched him at Indiana. I thought he was great. The number 1 overall pick, I'm like, all right, what we got? You know, what's going on? Anthony Bennett out of UNLV. I said, who the fuck is – I think everybody in the world, who's UNLV?
It was bad. That was a bad time. Because to be fair, though, in real time, people didn't know how good a lot of those players were.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it really wasn't
fair.
viewed as like a crazy draft. So whatever player you were taking, you may have been rolling the dice on. I agree, though. Even at that time, I had known about
You
Oladipo.
knew it was bad.
Yeah, but I also knew about Oladipo, so I was surprised that he didn't. But the reason why is because I think y'all had Waiters last year.
We got Waiters, we got Tristan, we got Waiters, and we got Kyrie out of those. But, I mean, you got to pick best available, bro. I mean,
I agree.
Memphis Grizzlies got 8 centers on their goddamn team right now. You got to get Cam if Cam is available.
I agree.
So that's the number 1. That's the worst number 1 pick of all time, okay? Who wins the championship this year?
Man.
Number 4.
Man, it's so tough. Because in this era of basketball, bro, every year is somebody different. Damn.
I like this shot. We got him on his heels, man. I know it's almost impossible. We don't even know where Brian is going. He might tilt the scale, but
Brian not tilting no scale.
Okay, all right.
Unless, it depends on what team you go to. But
that's why I'm saying, like, we don't know where he's going. He might tilt the scales.
Not tilting no scale.
If you go to Philly, he tilt the scales, bro.
Philly might be the only. Philly and San Antonio. If you go to San Antonio, they're definitely one.
So it's like we don't know where he landed. So at this point,
but he's not going to San Antonio. Philly's a team that he might actually go to that I would say they could potentially win. I ain't gonna lie, I like that Kawhi addition so much, so I might be leaning Toronto. But if J-Dub is healthy and if Chet get his mind right, because I don't know what's going on with Chet, OKC to me is still the better team. I feel like if they were 100% healthy, they would have won this year.
Okay.
In all honesty.
So you got OKC winning the championship
OKC winning
next NBA season. Okay, got you. Last, final question. We know who you got winning the championship. Who will win MVP?
If Tatum plays enough games, he might win MVP.
I feel like it's set up for him too.
Yeah.
Right? His Robin goes away, or Batman, wherever you want to put him. I know a lot of people have him over, but the most pressure in the NBA will be on him. Yeah. It's set up for him to win it. He's been one of those players that's asking for the keys. It's almost like he's asking to be the face of the NBA, and the NBA just like, nah, who else we got? Yeah. So it looks like, that's a great pick.
If it's not him, though, I will say this. If Wemby gets a consistent jump shot, which I think he's much closer than people realize, Wemby about to win it for the next life. Wemby about to be at a point where it's like he got it, bro. Yeah. It's about to be the Wemby Award, especially the DPOY.
It's his.
If Wemby can,
he should have got his rookie year over Rudy.
Yeah, he should have. If Wemby, though, if he pieces together like a solid, he ain't got to be crazy, just a solid mid-range shooting season where he can get in the post, work out a little bit more, and they just feature him in the offense a little bit. Because I do believe a lot of those players and the way in which they're going to organize their offense is just going to feature Wemby more by default. If you pair that with just like the defensive player he is, it is going to be hard to win over him. But narratives and like everything going in his favor, it is going to be Tatum. I will say this, though. If Tatum wins MVP, we're going to have a lot of conversation. Because, like,
I think it justifies the trade at that point.
No, but then JB wasn't even like top 5, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I think Tatum has the ability to play better than what he used to, but I still don't think Tatum is going to perform better than like Luka, Jokic, Giannis. I just don't think he'll play better than them. But I think they might just give it to him just because, like, oh, well, look at what happened and everything. Like, look at the numbers you're posting, because he's going to post up. In theory, he should be posting up like Braun numbers damn near. He should be averaging like 28, 7.
And we know this award is more narrative based and talent based, right? 1 year it's about the triple double. 1 year it's about the best player on the best team.
The narrative should have been for JB last year.
It should have been.
I ain't gonna lie. And this is not even me saying like, because I don't think JB should have won the award, to be fair. But the
like
narrative was going. It should have been JB.
But once again, it's JB, bro. The people that vote, the people that have the powers that be to vote on, they're not allies with this nigga. So I knew he wasn't gonna win it, even though he should have been. He should have been higher in that competition.
He should have at least been higher. I don't think he should have won it, but he should have been higher.
Yeah.
But Tatum, I think Tatum is going to tick off enough numbers in boxes for it to make sense.
Okay.
But Wemby, if I had to pick, I would still pick Wemby, though.
That has been another episode of In the Scope with Sniper Jones. I got to give a huge shout out to my boy Lo for pulling up, sitting down, bro. It's been almost 2 hours. The time was flying, bro. I didn't even know this episode was this long. But, brother, before you go, last question. I always tell people who sit in this chair, there's somebody who watching you who want to be where you at. And I love the fact that you told your story. You didn't hold no punches. Yo, bro, I was trying to figure it out, right? I was rapping. That didn't work. I'm working at Walmart, Home Depot, trying to figure it out. I'm driving this beat down 97 whip, and I'm trying to figure it out. What can you tell the next person at home that wants to be Legend of Winning with inspiration, or what can you tell them if they trying to figure it out?
I think self-awareness is probably like the best asset and trait to have. You know, you gotta. I always say do it for the love of the process, because at the end of the day, like that's a lot of your time is going to be spent during all of this. Like the end goals, the achievements, the awards, the big, I guess, trophy at the end of it, whatever goal you're trying to reach, that moment is a moment. Like it's only going to last for like you here, you got it, cool, boom. Like I think both of the channels, Low Post and Low Likes, they're about to hit 100K. That will be a moment. But the process of getting to that moment is far longer than the actual moment itself. So fall in love with the process. Self-awareness is like certainly key. And then just try to surround yourself with people who are also willing to go with the journey, or at least participate in some capacity. That's part of the biggest thing I was disappointed in with a lot of creators with the whole streamer you thing, where they were like, I didn't even get to meet Kai and stuff like that. And it's like, bro, you were in literally a crowd full of other content creators. There's no way that you didn't network, you didn't try to touch hands and stuff like that, and that's not a rub shoulders, whatever it is. There's no way you didn't communicate with nobody and you didn't get nobody's number. You didn't try to build to wherever you're trying to get to. That's how me and Snipe got to who we are right now. So this is like, you have to understand that you have to be in love with the process, be self-aware, and understand opportunities that present themselves beyond whatever you think is like your goal. You know, you got to make the most of it. So that's definitely what I would tell people.
Once again, man, thank you again, bro. I cannot express enough how much it means to me that you hopped on the pod. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another episode. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know who y'all want to see next on the podcast. You know I cannot leave without saying, everybody, please dream big. Till next time, we out.